G'day and welcome back. Today we're having a look at the Planeswalker Party Commander deck from Commander Masters. Our face commander is Commodore Guff, as you can see on the box here. It's a good looking box. We're going to crack it open, have a look what's inside, have a look at the two commanders, see which way this deck sort of runs. Check out some of this art as well. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty interesting. So we have our little deck box here with some nice Commodore Guff on the outside there, and it has these color symbols on the front. Crack this open and we can see we get usually your art, how to play it, a little spacer, your collector booster sampler, your spin down life counter which has no art on it this time. Again, we'll pop open this collector booster sample pack, see what's inside. Sometimes we can get some nice little upgrades. Some pretty cool cards. We have, Morphon the Boundless. Wow, that's nice. Nice, cool card. And Dread Return in that lovely foil. So yeah, cool little cards. Interesting to have. You can make yourself another commander out of that. And then we have the cards here. So this commander is all about Planeswalkers. He is a Planeswalker himself. So he has 4 mana, you get a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. At the beginning of your end step, you put a loyalty counter on another target Planeswalker you control. His +1 gives you a 1/1 red wizard creature token with tap it, add red, spend this mana only to cast a Planeswalker spell, which is kind of a little weird considering his 3 different colors. They could have put that on there, but I guess they didn't want to. And his -3 is you draw X cards and he deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of Planeswalkers you control. So not that strong. I mean, if you're proliferating and you've got a lot of Planeswalkers out there, you could be hitting people for like 4 or 5 or 6 each turn. So yeah, it could be relevant, interesting. He's not overly strong. He doesn't have a crazy ultimate ability on him, so he's definitely not a broken one. Also, he does have the text he can be your commander. Then we've got the second commander, which is Leori Spark Touch Hunter. I believe this is Luca's pet, and it is an elemental cat, a flying vigilance 3/3 for 3 mana. When it does combat damage to a player, choose a Planeswalker type. Until the end of the turn, whenever you activate an ability of a Planeswalker of that type, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copies. So when you choose a Planeswalker type, that's basically like Gideon or Chandra, those kinds of types. So if you're running this as your commander, I would assume that you're running a lot of specific ones. So you're jumping straight into like Jace only, or as many copies of that sort of named, which honestly can go really well. Looking at these two, I'm not going to go too crazy in breaking down the deck between the two because they both do similar sort of things. They both support having Planeswalkers. I do really like the way that this plays, having a flying vigilance 3/3 that gives you that ability, and it's almost like the deification ability as well. Really cool. But yeah, they both work well. If you don't want to go specifics, he's probably a little bit better. If you want to go specifics, like I would probably tailor the deck more specific and put more like Chandras in, or Gideons or Jaces. But all in all, both two really good ones. We'll have a look at the cards. Cartographer's Hawk. When it deals combat damage, you return it. It's a really bad card. I'm pulling it out of the deck. Not good at all. Way better white ramp in the deck, or that you can put in. So we'll go Path to Exile, Great Removal, Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. Interesting. When it attacks an opponent, when a creature attacks you, you can get a Ogre. Yeah, it's okay. Arcane Signet, good mana ramp, Fel Warstone, Sol Ring, and then we've got lands, Command Tower, Myriad Landscape, Reliquary Tower, so good lands. Let's chuck them over here. Graceful Apparition. I like the ability to proliferate. That's definitely a big key theme in this that I think it needs more support in as well. So definitely love this, works well in both of them. Atraxa Explorer, so it's another way to get lands. There is better ways, so I'd probably pop that out. We've got Swords to Plowshares. The Wanderer, this is one of those things where you could go either way with it. If you want to go specifics, go Leori. You could possibly take the Wanderer out. It does make a lot of the damage reduced, so if people are doing like pings and stuff like that to your creatures, it can be good. But yeah, all in all, okay, Planeswalker can go in either. Flux Channeler, Proliferate, awesome ability. Fog Bank, they've chucked this in because it's a nice cheap card and you can prevent combat damage, so it's like a good blocker to protect your Planeswalkers. I would just prefer to put in Planeswalkers that generate creatures and bits and pieces like that, like have their own defenses. A lot of them have defense baked into them, so I think this is a card that could get pulled out. Narset, Part of the Veil, is really good to stop people from drawing cards, really cool Planeswalker. Thrumming Bird, another way to proliferate, really nice. We've got Saheeli, so whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a servo, so like I was saying, create your own blockers from your spells. The target artifact thing, not overly relevant, so this is a Planeswalker you could possibly cut to put a different one into it. Wall of Denial, same thing, it's a defender flying, it's hard to kill for 3, a 0/8, which is quite nice. Being such a big body, and Shroud as well, it could be a really good blocker, but I would still prefer to go just right down that line, lots of Planeswalkers, so that you're not getting dead hits. Azorius Signet, so I've got ramp, Honor Worn Shaku. This is actually a really fun card. It works really, really well with your Planeswalkers because you can tap and untap legendary permanent you control and untap Honor Worn Shaku. So you can actually tap your Planeswalkers themselves for mana to untap this. So yeah, really cool ability. Keep it in, good mana rock. Is it Signet? They put talismans in, which is really nice. I do like the talisman reprints. Wayfarer's Bauble, so they've got quite a fair bit of mana here. You can have mana fix pretty easily. Forge of Heroes, definitely better for Commodore, but Leori still doesn't mind it. I'll put in the lands. Mangara the Diplomat, amazing because it actually specifies if creatures attack your Planeswalkers, so that's a great ability. Anything that has basically, if a creature attacks your Planeswalkers in, I'd pretty much put it into this deck. There's some more cards out there. There's like that Baird, Steward of Argive. He's one that's kind of like a ghostly prison effect. Things like that would work really well in this deck. Then we've got Gatewatch Beacon. Yeah, cool card. So it enters with 3 loyalty. It's a mana rock, and whenever a Planeswalker enters onto the battlefield, if it has a loyalty counter on this, you can shift it across. So if you're proliferating, you can be topping this up and then sharing your counters across. But yeah, cool mana rock ability with interaction. So yeah, this is the same sort of thing. Creatures can't attack Planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 1 for each attacking a Planeswalker. So yeah, also you can get Planeswalkers back with it. Really cool card, cheap to get it out as well. Good protection for your Planeswalkers, really good. Definitely nice. Teo, he is interesting. So yeah, he's one that can make a wall, a flying defending wall. He has a plus and a minus, which is really nice to see. I'm not a big fan of just the minus only Planeswalkers, as you can't get as much effects out of them. Even though we are going to go quite a fair bit into proliferate, it's nice to be able to use them. Sometimes you don't want them just sitting there doing nothing. Then we've got Spark Shaper Visionary, 3 mana. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose any number of target Planeswalkers you control. Till the end of the turn, they become a 3/3 bird creature token with hexproof and flying, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, scry 1. So, weird that you're having your Planeswalkers attack. Usually don't want that. You don't want them to die. But, I mean, the cool thing is, if you've got the option to punch people, they're not blockers anyway, so it doesn't matter if they tap out. So, yeah, really cool card. Really good in this thing. It's a big body as well. Yeah, I like it. I like the ability that it gives you. Vronis, Masked Inquisitor. So he has +1 up to 2 other target Planeswalkers you control phase out at the beginning of the next end step. So you can give your Planeswalkers protection, which is quite nice. -2 for each opponent, return up to 1 target non-land permanent that controls to its owner's hands. So you can bounce stuff. And then -7, target artifact you control becomes a 9/9 construct artifact creature, gains vigilance, indestructible, and can't be blocked. So, wow. Yeah. Ultimate's pretty cool. The abilities are pretty cool. Decent Planeswalker. If you are going a name-specific one, you could sub it out, but still really cool. Nice new card. Then we've got Ashandra. So yeah, at the beginning of your end step, She does X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of planeswalkers you control, so kind of like Commodore Guff's ability. Her +1 is add a red for each planeswalker you control, which is nice. And 0, remove a loyalty counter from any number of permanents you control. Exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play them in this turn. So yeah, it's not a minus, but it kind of is a minus. Kind of like a proliferate isn't a positive, but it is. So yeah, cool effect. Really good way to give you a bit of like pseudo card draw in there, and a nice new Chandra. And then we've got Guff rewrites history for 3 mana. It's an instant. For each player, choose target non-enchantment, non-land permanent that player controls. Those permanents owners shuffle them into their libraries. Each player who controlled one of those permanents exile cards from the top of the library until they exile a non-land card, and then puts the rest of them in a random order on the bottom. Each player may cast the non-land card they exiled without paying its mana cost. So it's like a Chaos Warp board wide. So cool, weird effect. Yeah, I like it. You can choose. And you also hit yourself too. So you might even get a Planeswalker out of it, which is pretty cool. We've got Jaya's Phoenix, flying haste 3/3. When it deals combat damage to a player or a Planeswalker, copy the next loyalty ability you activate this turn, and you can choose new targets. And then whenever you cast a Planeswalker spell, you can return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. So pretty bad normally. In a Planeswalker deck, pretty decent. Yeah, I'd keep it in. It's 5 mana for a 3/3, but I mean, you want the copy ability. That's what you're really paying for in this body. It reanimates itself, which is quite nice too. Ajani Steadfast. Yeah, interesting, cool Planeswalker. His -7 is really what you want here. Source would deal damage to you or a Planeswalker you control, prevent all but one of that damage. Pretty amazing, especially if you've got a lot of Planeswalkers. So yeah, putting +1/+1s on all your Planeswalkers is quite nice. Deploy the Gatewatch, really good card, really good way to get extra Planeswalkers out. Elspeth, one of the best Planeswalkers we've had for a long time, really cool. Gideon Jura, going down the Gideon path, you could just go straight into him. Interesting. Some of the Gideons aren't amazing, but still keep it in because, yeah, it's Gideons. So Norn's Annex, so yeah, this is one of the ones where creatures can't attack you or a Planeswalker you control unless their controller pays Phyrexian white. So cool card. We'll just shift this over here. Oath of Gideon. So you get some dudes, and then whenever a Planeswalker enters the battlefield, you get an additional loyalty counter on it. These oaths are usually really good, so definitely keep them in. Promise of Loyalty, I like this card. Each player puts a vow counter on that creature they control and sacks the rest. Each of those creatures can't attack you or Planeswalkers you control for as long as it has a vow counter on it. So wipes the board and also stops those creatures that remain from attacking you or your Planeswalkers. So yeah, really cool effect. Semester's End, a great way to blink your Planeswalkers at instant speed so that they don't die. Urza's Ruinous Blast, all your Planeswalkers are legendary permanents, so it's not going to be affected by it. Really good to board wipe. Deep Glow Skate, you get to double all the counters on it, so a really strong proliferate effect. Really good if you can bounce it too. We've got Jace Beleren, so normal Jace. He's really good because, yeah, you can mill someone for 20, but giving people cards, a lot of people don't like killing him because it incentivizes them to keep it out there because he'll give you cards. Jace Architect Thought, pretty average. You can upgrade him with a better one. Jace Mirror Mage, same thing. He's okay, but not amazing. We've got Oath of Jace. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you scry X, where X is the number of Planeswalkers you control. This one, when it enters, you draw 3 and discard 2. This oath is one of the oaths that I'd probably pull out. There's a slot there that you could probably put something better in. Spark Double, amazing card. And also now it comes in as a Planeswalker, so you can choose whatever good Planeswalker you have and get an extra one. Blasphemous Act, good way to wipe the board. Chandra, Awakened Inferno. Interesting, but yeah, they've just chucked a whole heap of cheaper Planeswalkers into here. Chandra's still not bad, but yeah, alright. Chandra, Torture Defiance, I like this one because you can get mana out of it, so it can do a lot of stuff. Repeated Reverberation, really, it does copy instant sorcery spell, but really you want the activated loyalty ability, you want to copy it. Then we've got Sarkhan, yeah, same thing, stuffed a few interesting Planeswalkers that don't do a lot into here. Nahiri as well, looting, exiling some stuff. Yeah, this is what I mean. You can choose which way you want to go with this. You can keep some of these in, or you can invest a bit more money and get some better Planeswalkers. Narset's a fun little Narset. Gain some life, add some mana. I really like that. Yeah, draw a card, discard a card, and then yeah, you can shoot a creature, and then the emblem's not too bad too. This one's weird. Don't get me wrong, good card, love it. Great Narset, can be really abusive for extra turns if you've ever played against it. It's pretty gross. But yeah, in this deck, interesting. I mean, it can get you some Planeswalkers, but 6 mana for a 3/2 and not giving it evasion and stuff like that, I feel like that's a slot that you can pull out. Oath of Teferi, activating abilities twice on your Planeswalker is really good. And then Chain Veil, same sort of thing, but on an artifact, amazing. Great reprint too. Nev's Disc. So this hits all artifact creatures and enchantments, so it wipes everything but your Planeswalkers, so good. Just be careful when you use it, obviously. Silent Arbiter, no more than one creature can attack each combat, no more than one creature can block each combat. Can be great, scary though when people have big tramplers or flyers evasion to get around what you're doing. But yeah, slows down people killing your Planeswalkers. So effects like this are really nice. You could put in Ensnaring Bridge could work. Anything that prevents things attacking. I know there's like Light Mine Field, which can do damage to attacking creatures if you really want to slow it down and do like a Staxy way. That can work too, and just win off of some of your Planeswalker ultimate abilities. Then we've got the lands. Cascade Bluffs is a really nice reprint. This Filter Land is really cool. Then we've got the Snarls. I'm not a big fan of Snarls. Khan's Bastion's great to proliferate, works really well here. Yeah, Mobilized District, sorry. Mystic Gate, Port Town. Yeah, we've got some interesting lands. They've got some Scry lands in here. Yeah, cool. They've put the Interplanar Beacon in here, which gives you different colors for your Planeswalkers. Mystic Monastery, and then obviously your lands. So the mana base isn't bad. You can upgrade it a little bit more if you want, but yeah, all in all, not too bad. There's definitely some easy ones to pull out of this deck. There's some different ways you can go with this. More protection. You could always, yeah, obviously go your bed, Steward of Argive. You can go with tutors and less damage as well with Juru with Eyes Open, which lets you tutor for a Planeswalker. There's a whole range of Phyrexian block, just the recent one, spells that do proliferate. A lot of the blue ones do it. Even some of the legendary creatures have it built into them. If you want from the same set as well, you could get like All Will Be One, so when your Planeswalkers come in with loyalties, you can start shooting things for damage. Really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of there's a talent series of enchantments that came out in red, blue, and white, which enchant Planeswalkers and give them extra abilities. There's some cool, interesting little effects that you could put in there. Ikamoon Gauntlet is a way to win as well. You've got Mila and Luca, the flip card, which is really nice that you could chuck into there. And then obviously if you really want to go heavily with this guy, Deification, and then jump down like Chandra, Gideon, or Jace and go heavily into them. So yeah, all in all, like the deck itself functions really well. There's some cards that are a bit weird and janky, but obviously you get that. They're going cheap with some of this. So yeah, any protection works well with this, and any decent Planeswalker that you have lying around in these colors, you can just swap out and filter in. So all in all, great little deck, easy to upgrade, and yeah, I like it. I like the abilities, and I like the way that you can go with either of the commanders. So thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll catch you on the next one. This has been a box opening for the Adventurers Guild.